Part 74. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 731. Feng Qingxiu hurriedly turned around, pressed her son's chubby hand, and ended up getting cream on her hand. Zibao, everyone knows that the floral dress is yours, but you are eating cakes with your brother. Look, the cream is on it. It will be all over your body and it will make your clothes dirty, so it won't look good. Mom, please put it away for you and put it on tomorrow, okay? Zibao tilted his big head and thought for a long time before he understood what Feng Qingxiu meant, and nodded happily, I'll wear it tomorrow. Then he licked the cream on his fingers, not only his own, but also Feng Qingxiu's. After licking it clean, the little guy went back to eat the cake, only to find that Wang Zhonghua's spoon was moving faster and faster. Hua, my cake. Zibao rushed over and nibbled on it with his mouth, rubbing the cream all over his face. Taking this opportunity, Feng Qingxiu hurriedly put away her clothes. Guo Yan nodded. Most of the fabrics in department stores are black, gray, and blue, and the brightest ones are military green. Even if they are made into new clothes, they may not be as good looking as Zibao's clothes. Zibao has fair skin and wears bright colors, it looks better. Others agreed. Zibao, who is fair and fat, looks like a little fairy boy in red. Fu Bao seemed to notice everyone's neglect of her and burst into tears to show that today was her full moon day. Feng Qingxiu first checked whether she was hungry or peed, and found that everything was normal, so she held her in her arms. When she lowered her head, she saw that there was not a single tear on little Fu Bao's fair and fat face, and she was howling at the top of her voice. Great! Father Lu was drinking tea with Zhao Hanzi outside when he heard crying and asked his granddaughter why she was crying. Dad, it's okay. Just have tea with Deputy Commander Zhao. Does she know how to remind adults to pay attention to her at such a young age? Feng Qingxiu was so funny. In the month since he was born, little Fu Bao has been very quiet, which is completely different from Zibao, who was very lively during the confinement period. Zhang Xiaoyu looked over and saw it, and couldn't help but laugh. Xiao Fu Bao, are you blaming us for forgetting you? Don't worry, we haven't forgotten you. My sister has brought you a new quilt. Let me hug you. Fang Ning stretched out his arm. Fu Bao fell into her arms. The smell was different from Feng Qingxiu's. The little girl immediately stopped howling and opened her eyes wide. The eyes are large and bright, and the eyeballs are slightly blue, not purely black and white. Yang Fengying came close to Fang Ning and tapped Fu Bao's face with her fingertips, as expected of Fu Bao, and as expected of Zibao's sister. Look at how chubby they look like. Qingxiu, you really know how to raise children, both of you. The children are raised so well, who wouldn't like them? Bai Shui teased Zibao and said, Zibao, what's your sister's name? Fat Ya. Zibao raised his fat face covered with cream and replied simply. Fat girl. Everyone burst out laughing. Who gave it the name? Isn't it Fu Bao? Feng Qingxiu said helplessly. The aunt from Uncle Lu Pinlu's house next door came to sit at home and casually called Fu Bao little Fat Ya. Somehow Zibao remembered it. Fat Ya all day long. Yelled. Fat Ya! Fat Ya! Zibao shouted loudly, his eyes narrowed into slits. Guo Yan asked, who is called Fat Ya? There is no Fat Ya in our family. Yes, Zibao pointed at Fu Bao, my sister's name is Fat Ya, fat sister, little baby, Fat Ya. Her name is Fu Bao, Yang Fengying said. Zibao shook his head violently, pointed at his nose and said, baby, I am Bao, and my sister is Fat Ya. Fat Ya. My brother-in-law, my father, my mother, including me. Zibao, what's your mother's name? My nephew. Zibao replied, Fatty. Fat Ya. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 732. Everyone couldn't compete with him and nodded one after another. Yes, yes, my sister is the fat girl, and you are the baby, everyone's big fat baby. Zibao was satisfied. Wang Zonghua suddenly said, Zibao, you are the big baby, isn't Hui the little baby? Fat yat. Hui Hui. Once again, because of Fu Bao's name, the two brothers turned against each other. Neither of them gave the other the last bit of cake. They almost punched each other. 11 Bao picked up the paper box containing the cake and ran out. I won't let you eat it. Father Lu and Zhao Hanzi heard clearly, and watched Zibao run into the yard to get drunk, and couldn't help but laugh secretly. Xiao Yu, don't be so stingy. Take Fu Bao out and let me see it. Zhao Hanzi put down the tea bowl and said in a loud voice. He originally had a daughter who died at 10 months old. Later, he had been looking forward to the birth of Zhao Yang and Guo Xiuying. He had a granddaughter, but all the children he gave birth to were boys. He had been coveting other people's little girls for a long time, and Xiaoyu was half of his daughter. Zhang Xiaoyu stuck out her tongue and came out with Zibao in her arms. You saw Fubao, where's the meeting gift? Father Lu was afraid that Zhao Hanzi would really give him a greeting gift, so he hurriedly said, no greeting gift. A Zhang is not around. Everyone has helped Xiaoxiu and his wife a lot. We are grateful in our hearts. It is more valuable than any other greeting gift. While holding Fubao in his arms, Zhao Hanzi said to Zhang Xiaoyu, did you hear that? Not everyone is as obsessed with meeting gifts as you are. After all, you are still stingy. Zhang Xiaoyu made a face at him, not afraid of Zhao Hanzi's black face at all. Is it because you are stingy that you are being transferred? Transferred? What do you mean? Father Lu looked at Zhao Hanzi in surprise. Yes, the transfer order has been issued. I will have to go to the Southeast Military Region to take up my post after the meeting next month. Zhao Hanzi himself has no idea. He obeys the state's command in everything. I am just handing over the work, so I am not very busy this month. Let's take a look at Fubao. This time he was transferred and promoted instead of being demoted. Now he is the deputy commander, and he will be a positive one when he gets there. Father Lu thought of the recent situation in the capital, nodded and said, congratulations to Commander Zhao. It would be beneficial to Zhao Hanzi to stay away from the power struggle in the capital. Don't mention those things. Let me see this big fat girl, she is so cute. Zhao Hanzi looked at Fu Bao's fat face. Fu Bao smiled back at him, so sweet that the old man's heart melted. Your dad, he called me and learned that your mother did not live with you in the army. She was extremely worried and wished she could get her wings and fly over. Unfortunately, he had the heavy responsibility of a soldier and could only stay on the plateau and look towards the capital. But your grandpa Chen will come to the capital for a meeting next month, and he should bring your father's wishes. Father Lu was overjoyed. Did Lu Zhang call? This was the best gift Fu Bao had ever received. Yes, the phone call came to me. The few words in the telegram are not enough to express the meaning, and the mountains are blocked by heavy snow, so if you write letters and send things, Xiaoxiu Niang may not be able to receive them even if you go back. Lu Zhang was so worried that he couldn't sleep all night long. This is what my Ayang told me. Zhao Hanzi handed over the treasure and continued, because of my status, I have to worry about Xiaoxiu. Fortunately, you elders are thinking about it. I told Lu Zhang that he came thousands of miles away. Father Lu thanked him profusely. He is a soldier, so he should put his country first before his family. In fact, he felt particularly sorry for Feng Qingxiu. He couldn't see her husband during the 2 births and did everything by himself, but he couldn't say these words in front of outsiders. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 733. Zibao finished licking the cake, threw away the carton, licked the cream off his fingers first, then entered the room with a creamy face, leaned up in front of Father Lu, and said, "Grandpa, lick it." He actually asked Father Lu to lick the cake off his face. Father Lu pretended to have a straight face. "I didn't think of Grandpa when I had the cake to eat, but now I think of Grandpa." But Grandpa is very strong-willed and doesn't want to eat the cream on Zibao's face. "Lick it, it's not about eating." Zibao blinked his big eyes, consciously expressing himself clearly. Zhang Xiaoyu laughed so hard that she was out of breath, and wiped his face with a handkerchief. "Zibao, sister told you that no one likes to lick the cream on your face. Now, sister will wipe your face. Next time there is a cream cake, can you give it to your sister?" "Give. Would you like to give it to Huahua?" Zhang Xiaoyu also called Wang Zonghua to Huahua. "No." Wang Zonghua heard it in the room and said angrily, "Zibao is so bad that he took away the cake. I don't give it to Zibao even if I have delicious food. I just won't give it to Zibao." Feng Qingxiu said in a funny voice, "What delicious food do you have? If you don't give it to Zibao, how about giving it to Auntie?" "Chicken cake," Wang Zonghua said loudly. Zibao heard this, ran in from outside, pulled him and said, "Huahua, eat the egg cake." Wang Zonghua's nostrils turned upward. "I won't let you eat." Zibao was very unhappy, pushed him, and said angrily, "Huahua bad guy, eat my cake." Everyone noticed that Zibao pushed Wang Zonghua very lightly, especially Guo Yan. He noticed that Zibao didn't treat Wang Zonghua like he did Su Ping, so he watched the two children quarreling with a smile. "Yes, we quarreled until our faces were red and our necks were thick. I'm not a bad person. It's because you didn't give me cake to eat." I heard it all. Wang Zonghua's eyes were red. "You are eating my cake." Zibao pointed at the spoon that Wang Zonghua had not put down, and said plausibly, "Meaning that if you are eating my cake, you have to give me your chicken cake. If you don't give it to me, you will be a bad person." "Huahua, the egg cake is mine." Wang Zonghua was confused by him. "The cake is at home, you go and eat it with me." "Okay," he answered quickly and simply. After lunch, Zibao took Wang Zonghua's hand and left with Guo Yan, not forgetting to wave to Feng Qingxiu and Fuebao, "Sister, I'm eating cakes, you're at home, be good." The rest of the adults were laughing so hard. Zhang Xiaoyu rubbed her belly. "Zibao is so fun. If you have a camera, you must take pictures of his every move. Which one of you will take my car back to the military area? If you don't, I'll leave first." Zhao Hanzi was busy with work and couldn't stay long, so he said goodbye to Father Lu and Feng Qingxiu immediately. Chen Lin stood up and said, "I still have work in the hospital, and I will benefit from your honor today, Comrade Commander." "Okay, let's go then." Zhang Xiaoyu waved her hand. "Leader, you and Sister Chen will leave first. The rest of us will take the bus back in a while." Now that he said this, Zhao Hanzi was no longer polite. Father Lu went to see off Zhao Hanzi and Chen Lin, but did not enter the house when he came back. The sisters in the room started chatting away. "Traveling all over the world, chat as much as you want." Bai Shui suddenly mentioned Chen Chen. "Zhang Xiaoyu, you are well informed. Tell me, why did Chen Chen ask me to borrow 50 yuan yesterday?" Bai Shui had been living in the compound for a while, so she was a little unfamiliar with her comrades in the regiment. She didn't know many news. She recently returned to live in the army, and many people stayed away from her because she had a bad relationship with the Su family. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 734. Hearing Bai Shui's question, Yang Fengying and Fang Ning looked at each other, then looked down at Fu Bao, who was sleeping soundly after eating, without saying a word. When Zhang Xiaoyu was named by Bai Shui, she turned her head and thought for a moment. Chen Chen. Wasn't she your follower before? She was always obedient to you. Why didn't she tell you the reason for borrowing the money? Zhang Xiaoyu knew about this matter, as did Yang Fenying and Fang Ning. It is estimated that less than half of the people in the art troupe are well aware of this. Unlike Zhou Fei, who wanted to live a down-to-earth life because of Peng Hu's thoughtfulness after marrying Peng Hu, Chen Chen, who married Wan Xingguo, was very dissatisfied with his marriage and believed that his talent and appearance should not be inferior to Zhou Fei's. Peng Hu is the deputy division commander, while Wan Xingguo is just the regimental commander. Bai Shui married Mr. Su, with the big tree of the Su family behind her. Zhou Fei married also a teacher. Even the mediocre Yang Fenying was married to Shang Kun, who is not higher than the leader. If you are dissatisfied, trouble will arise. Chen Chen got together with a political commissar in the army and seemed to have a child. However, the political commissar refused to admit it, and it was impossible for him to ruin his future for Chen Chen. Chen Chen probably borrowed money to have an abortion. Zhang Xiaoyu and others have no intention of telling Bai Shui. They can tell Feng Qingxiu, but they cannot tell Bai Shui. Bai Shui's face didn't look good. Chen Chen has been alienated from me for a long time. He only said a few words when he came to borrow money. You don't even know, let alone us. Zhang Xiaoyu said simply, if you want to know what happened to Chen Chen, you can ask me Xili. The two of them have been getting closer recently and often whisper to each other, talking privately. By the way, everyone said that you and the Su family had a falling out. Is that true? You have the guts. Didn't your family say anything about you? Bai Shui said disapprovingly, I didn't see my family at all when they came. I don't care what they said. As for the Su family, they are too busy taking care of themselves right now. They are in such a mess that they can't care about me. Although they failed to find Hong Zhen, who was afraid of the Su family, Luo Mingxiang was not a good person. While Su Junchu and the old leader were out of Beijing for an inspection, Luo Mingxiang brought her sick son to the compound to find Lu Hongxiu. She cried so much that she burst into tears and ran nose. In full view of the public, Lu Hongxiu gritted her teeth and had to pay Luo Mingxiang living expenses. Arranged for the son surnamed Su to be hospitalized for treatment, and had to put on a show of asking for help. In any case, that was Su's mother's grandson. Su's mother was busy with him every day and almost made Lu Hongxiu angry to death. However, Luo Mingxiang has a reason. She was also the wife of Su Junchu Mingming during the anti-Japanese war. Now she is called the ex-wife, but it does not mean that she is really the ex-wife. The Su family's messy things happened one after another. Before Guo Yan's plan to kill someone with a borrowed knife could be implemented, the Su family had ruined its reputation. If it weren't for the problems left over from history, the old leaders would have had their opinions. It's your own fault. Hearing the noise from the Su family again at noon, Guo Yan hummed softly, put on clean and neat clothes for Zibao and Wang Zonghua, and took them to have a hearty lunch. Let's go, Zonghua, Zibao, Grandma will take you to play. Play. Zibao liked it and happily went out with Guo Yan. After making trouble everywhere, I was chasing each other with Lu Yi, Prince Long Su Shengli and others, when I suddenly saw Lu Shui and leader number 3 accompanying a guest out for a walk. He shouted and rushed up, Grandpa! I'm going to pay the final payment today. I'll code and update when I come back. I'll try to update as much as possible. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 735. Seeing Zibao yelling, leader number 3, Lu Shui and others all laughed. Lu Shui blocked Zibao's momentum with his big hand, worried that if he bumped into the ambassador, he would appear to be disrespectful to a big country. Zibao, have you eaten? After hearing Leader No 3's question, Zibao's first reaction was to touch his belly. I'm full. Grandpa, the baby has eaten. Can Grandpa eat it? Leader number 3 smiled and said, "Grandpa is also full. Come, Grandpa will introduce to you Bernard, the distinguished guest of our country. You can call him Uncle." Zibeo looked at Bernard curiously with wide eyes. "Uncle? It's different." His hair was not black and his skin was very fair. Zibeo pointed at his eyes and shouted, "Oh my God." Bernard also looked at the little fat man in front of him curiously and asked the accompanying translator what he meant. Leader number 3 smiled and said, "He is saying that your eyes are beautiful, as blue as the sky. Isn't that right, Zibeo?" "Yes," Zibeo's voice was so loud. Then he hooked his fingers at Bernard. When Bernard bent down and looked directly at him, he took out a toffee from his pocket and handed it to Bernard. "Eat." Bernard took it in his hand and asked, "Did you give it to me?" Bernard was amazed that such a young child could be so polite. Zibeo couldn't understand French, but that didn't mean he didn't know everyone's reaction. He nodded heavily and urged, "Eat. Candy, my candy, it's delicious." "Thank you, kid." Bernard peeled off the toffee and put it in his mouth, which made Louis and others who saw the scene envious. Those were high-end milk candies, and Zibeo had only given them one each before. Seeing Bernard eating the candy, Zibeo pulled him and shouted at the staff who was following the photo with the camera, "Take a photo." At this time, not only Bernard was stunned, but even the leaders and others didn't understand why Zibeo wanted to take a photo with Bernard. Guo Yan suddenly remembered. Before taking Zibeo out yesterday, Feng Qingxiu told Zibeo that when he came to the compound, he must take photos with everyone as a souvenir to show his father. In fact, before that, when she got those photos of Lao Shengsheng and Zibeo, Feng Qingxiu told Zibeo that the fat Zibeo in the photos looked very good. It was an honor to take pictures with a great person, and her mother was so envious. Zibeo remembered it, which led to him taking photos with them every time he saw an important person, but Feng Qingxiu didn't expect it. However, people who took photos with Zibeo thought they were very amiable and liked Zibeo. Bernard thought the same and felt that Zibeo was conquered by his personal charm. He smiled and took many photos with Zibeo, including holding hands, holding Zibeo in his arms, and talking to Zibeo. Every time the camera flashed, Zibeo grinned with joy and actually called Wang Zonghua, Lu Yi, and a group of good friends to take a group photo with Bernard, Chief Number 3, Lu Yi and others. The plump and tender little chubby hand patted the back of Bernard's hand, and Zibeo said, "I want to treat you to a meal." After hearing what the translator said, Bernard said with a smile, "Baby, you treat me to some sweets, and I'll treat you to some Western food, okay?" Zibeo didn't understand, so leader number 3 translated it to him. "No. No," Zibeo waved his little hands. "Why?" Bernard asked. Leader number 3 had an idea and said with a smile, "I think he means that the visitor is a guest, and the distinguished guests should not be allowed to spend money." "Zibeo, is Grandpa right?" The last sentence was in Chinese, so Zibeo said directly, "Yes." In fact, he had no idea what the other person meant. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 736. Guo Yan was smiling so much that her mouth reached behind her ears. It was a wise decision to borrow Zibeo. Look how well he behaves. It is easy for a clean, fair, and beautiful child to win everyone's favor, not to mention that Zibeo's words and deeds are truly considerate. It is difficult for ordinary children to be so down-to-earth and generous, especially when facing foreign guests. I didn't see Wang Zonghua following them step by step. Even the lawless children such as Prince Lu Yi, Long Su Shengli and others did not dare to say hello to Bernard, let alone have a conversation. Zibeo is different. He is not afraid of strangers and can get along with anyone if he is willing. Next, he continued to chat with Bernard, and they actually had a lot of fun. Zibao took Bernard and wandered around. No Huahua. Lu Shui smiled and said, Zibao, who said there are no flowers? You are the flowers of the motherland. Huahua, Zibao pointed to his nose, no, my name is Bao Bao, big baby. The little eyes look a little disgusted with Lu Shui. We have known him for so long, but he doesn't know that my name is Bao Bao. Lu Shui was speechless. People who understand Zibao's meaning can't help laughing. Zibao ran over and pulled Wang Zonghua to Bernard, my brother, Huahua. As soon as he heard Zibao call him his younger brother again, Wang Zonghua ignored his timidity and said, Zibao, I'm not my younger brother, I'm your older brother. Leader number 3 translated to Bernard, who asked curiously, so, who is the older of the two children and who is the younger? In Bernard's opinion, all children are similar, but the baby is the most outstanding. Zibao is young, just over 1 year old this year. Lu Shui asked the translator to convey his meaning to Bernard. Among these children, the old Lu family is the oldest, and Zibao is the youngest. Bernard was even more surprised. The smallest one is the smartest, he was also the fairest and fattest. Our country is accustomed to respecting the old and loving the young. The youngest always gets everyone's care, so the baby is fatter than the older brothers. Fatter. He must be a lot fatter, right? Bernard thought. But being fat is smart and cute, not stupid. Baby, I live in the embassy, you can come and play with me often, Bernard said to Zibao before saying goodbye. Leader number 3 immediately agreed for Zibao, but Zibao grabbed him and said anxiously, Fan Fan, Fan Fan. Leader number 3 lowered his head and smiled at him, you are too young to treat yourself, but you can go home and discuss it with your mother, and then extend an invitation to Bernard. I think Bernard must be very happy. Zibao scratched his double chin, not understanding what leader number 3 meant. I'm a fan. Guo Yan said hurriedly, Zibao, go home and tell your mother, and then treat your uncle to dinner, okay? Okay, Zibao understood the sentence. He grabbed Bernard's hand and shook it, Mom, it's delicious, rice. After listening to the translation, Bernard smiled and said, okay, little baby, your mother will make delicious food, right? I will prepare a gift for your mother. Zibao listened to Leader No 3's translation and said loudly, Sister, sister, my sister, fat sister. Bernard knew, he had his mother and sister at home. Goodbye, little darling, I believe we will meet again soon. Bye, the little fat man waved his hands happily. After seeing Bernard off, Lu Shui immediately told Guo Yan, tell Zibao's mother that if Bernard accepts the invitation, all the food will be sent by the supply department. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 737. When Guo Yan told Feng Qingxiu immediately opened her mouth and her eyes widened. Auntie, please speak more slowly. Please leave me alone. You said that Zibao had a great time with Bernard, the ambassador stationed in the capital? He spoke smoothly. You said that Zibao treated others to milk candies. Do you want to treat others to dinner later? Does he know the meaning of treat? Toffee is a must-have for Zibao to hook up with friends. Every time he goes out, Feng Qingxiu will put some on him. Did you hook up with Bernard with a toffee? And we took a group photo together, which is incredible no matter how you think about it. Guo Yan covered her mouth with a smile and was about to speak. After taking off her cotton-padded clothes, Zibao, who was lying on the Kong wearing only cashmere clothes and pants with her butt stuck out, protested, Fan Fan. Mom, Fan Fan. Nana, eat rice. Feng Qingxiu was stunned, Nana, could it be Bernard? Does this little fat guy give people nicknames? Wang Zonghua is Huahua, and Bernard is Nana? Zibao turned over and sat up, his little fat belly trembling under his cashmere clothes with excitement. Nana, it's different. Mom, Nana, he pointed to his eyes, it was different. Feng Qingxiu teased him, what's the difference? Zibao pointed to his eyes again. Bernard has very white skin, silver-like hair, and a pair of sky-blue eyes. He is very tall and has a high nose. Guoyan described Bernard's appearance and characteristics to Feng Qingxiu. After the two countries established diplomatic relations, he has been stationed at the embassy in the capital this summer and often comes in and out of the compound, so we all know him. As a French person, Feng Qingxiu began to think back on the French she learned from Uncle Su and Aunt Su and the French table manners she was exposed to when learning etiquette in her previous life. What do French people like to eat the most? Western food. She doesn't know how to cook Western food. Unknowingly, this sentence blurted out and was heard by Guoyan. Western food. The favorite food of many foreigners who come to our country may not be Western food. Guoyan smiled happily. I think Bernard really likes to eat our braised lion head. Feng Qingxiu shook her head. France is a country of gourmet food. They believe that food is an exquisite enjoyment and not just for enjoyment, so the etiquette at the table is very important. Even if you invite them to eat Chinese food, it must be in line with their etiquette. The food made must also suit their appetite, this is a sign of respect. Zibao lay on Feng Qingxiu's back, holding her neck with his hands and resting his chin on Feng Qingxiu's head. Mom, Zibao said coquettishly. Feng Qingxiu said with a straight face, it's useless for you to call me mom. Whoever you want to invite to dinner, you can prepare it yourself. Mom, Zibao twisted and rubbed on her back. Mom, baby, be good, baby, be good. The baby is very well behaved. You have to help the baby treat guests. After understanding what Zibao wanted to express, Feng Qingxiu was angry and funny. Let mom think about it. If we treat guests, we must make the guests feel at home. We need to. There is too much preparation work. Look, there are no flowers, no wine, and no vegetables. It's hard for your mother and I to make a meal without rice. Guoyan said hurriedly, have you forgotten what Lu Shui asked me to tell you? You don't have to worry about the food, drinks, and tableware. I can ask the supply department to deliver them to you. Just make a list for me. Auntie, please help me first find out what kind of food Bernard eats as a guest in the compound and what he likes to eat. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 738. It was Feng Qingxiu just after confinement. Because Zibao was treating me to a guest, I couldn't enjoy any leisure time. She first sent an invitation to Bernard on behalf of Zibao. The date was scheduled to be on the weekend. Weekends are usually rest time. The embassy immediately received a reply from Bernard, accepting the invitation and feeling deeply honored. It can be seen that although Zibao is small, he has gained Bernard's favor. Father Lu could still hold it, but Wang Fengqiao was so excited that he almost couldn't breathe. He took several deep breaths and patted his chest. Oh my God, foreigners, am I dreaming? Zibao actually knows foreigners, and we actually want to invite foreigners to our home for dinner. I saw the foreigners at the door of the friendship store and felt that I was amazing. I told my relatives and friends after I got home, they must be very envious. I didn't expect that our Zibao is so capable and can be good friends with all kinds of people. Wang Fengqiao held Zibao in her arms and kissed her for a while. The kiss made Zibao keep hiding behind her. My darling, why are you so powerful? If our family invites foreigners to eat, how can your aunt and grandma go to my family, show off for a lifetime? Foreigners, apart from Japanese, have the old farmers in the mountains and valleys ever seen foreigners? Auntie, please don't be so excited. I may not be willing to be a guest, Feng Qingxiu said helplessly. It's possible to come, isn't it? I have to clean the house. Without Feng Qingxiu's reminder, Wang Fengqiao started cleaning inside and outside, cleaning the windows and saying, after setting the date, I will clean the house in the middle of the night. Go queue to buy meat. In the hearts of their people, when guests come to their homes, they must use all their abilities to cook a sumptuous meal to entertain them. You have to prepare chicken, fish, meat, and eggs, whatever you can buy. Feng Qingxiu smiled and said, Auntie, please don't be busy now. Wait until Madame Wang gives me a reply. Guo Yan attaches great importance to this matter. Zibao is a bit young, but the leaders of the compound all know that the Lu family's tutors always stick to their word. Bernard was also very serious when chatting with Zibao, and did not take his words as a joke just because Zibao was young. When entertaining foreign guests, you really need to make them feel at home. What Bernard likes to eat, the menus used by leaders in the past, etc., are all recorded in the compound. Based on Guo Yan's reply, Feng Qingxiu drew up a list and gave it to her to take back. I went to the friendship store to buy the remaining drinks and other items. Except for foreigners and government officials, ordinary people cannot spend money in friendship stores. Isn't this to entertain foreign guests? Feng Qingxiu specifically asked for the approval slip to prove her need for shopping. Of course, she also took this opportunity to buy some high-priced items that she wouldn't use for the treat. While teaching Zibao French table manners, Feng Qingxiu also borrowed a set of white porcelain tableware, knives and forks, wine glasses, and water glasses. There are dedicated staff in charge of these courtyards. When Lu Shui spoke, Guo Yan came forward and could borrow them. Come out and use it. The ingredients are all fresh, and the staff from the supply department delivered them early in the morning. Beef, chicken, pork, potatoes, onions, carrots. Father Lu took Zibao to several neighbors' houses, picked up a few branches of wintersweet that had just bloomed, and brought them to his home. The main room had been tidied up and the windows were clean, and the decoration was very exquisite. The table used as a dining table was covered with light green floral flowers. The tablecloth was temporarily cut by Feng Qingxiu, as well as the white napkins, with a few wintersweet branches inserted, filling the room with a fresh atmosphere. When Bernard came, he heard Feng Qingxiu's unsophisticated French and the decoration of the room, and immediately felt how respected he was. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 739. Bernard also attached great importance to Zibao. Not only did he wear a neat suit and match it with decent accessories, he also followed his promise and prepared gifts for Feng Qingxiu, including French perfume, silk scarves, chocolates, flowers, etc., and gave him a kiss on the hand. Zibao's eyes suddenly widened, almost exactly like his mother's. Father Lu is well informed and doesn't think it's strange, but Wang Fengqiao is different. Even if he puts on his best clothes, he feels uncomfortable all over and doesn't dare to take a breath. Thank you, Bernard, I like your gift very much. Feng Qingxiu's French is not as good as the English she learned in her previous life and the Russian she learned from Uncle Su and others in this life, but ordinary conversations can't trouble her. Russian is the first foreign language of this era. Of course, the Russian language course is no longer offered in schools now. The relationship between the two countries is not good. Bernard originally thought that Feng Qingxiu would only say hello, but she didn't expect that it would not affect their communication, and she could always pick up her topic immediately. Her attitude was generous and not coy at all, which she had not seen in many people. To be honest, she also knows the history and culture of France, many brands and special attractions in France, and so on. Dear Feng, your knowledge is really profound, Bernard couldn't help but praise. Feng Qingxiu accepted his praise generously, and was not as humble as ordinary people, making foreigners really think that her countrymen were incompetent. "Uncle, eat, eat," Zibeo greeted Bernard enthusiastically, the fork in his hand slipping away. "Thank you, baby," Bernard picked up the fork. Although the taste of the food is not as good as in the courtyard, it is the taste that makes you feel the hostess's care. It must be from the hands of the hostess, not a professional cook. The country did want to let the chef of the state banquet cook, but Feng Qingxiu refused. When an ordinary family entertains guests and employs a state banquet chef, there will definitely be something to talk about. Although the meal is Chinese food, it is almost the same as Western food when served separately, and the dishes are all Bernard's favorite after coming to China. In addition, Feng Qingxiu also thoughtfully prepared wine, water, dried fruits, etc., with a smile all over his face. The meal lasted for 2 full hours, and the guests and hosts enjoyed themselves thoroughly. After Bernard returned, he expressed great appreciation for everything he had experienced today. He praised China for its demeanor as a great country, praised Feng Qingxiu and Zibeo for their impeccable etiquette, and said that he had spent a pleasant day and felt very honored. It is said that these remarks were published in their country's newspaper, accompanied by photos of the meal, which attracted much attention, but were never mentioned again. The old leader who was on a 1-month inspection heard about this incident when he returned to the capital and had a new understanding of Zibeo's communication skills. "This little guy is really impressive." Even if he couldn't understand the words, foreigners were taken care of by him. The old leader had dined with Bernard several times, and he knew Bernard very well. He was passionate and romantic, and he was very particular about etiquette. It was difficult for ordinary people to take him seriously. Wang Xinchen was stunned. "Zibeo. Zibeo is very good. It shows the dignity of our country and makes foreign guests no longer look down on us." A hint of appreciation appeared in the old leader's eyes. As for how Zibeo gained Bernard's friendship with the candy, we didn't get to the bottom of it. The bottom line is necessary, as long as the results are good, the process can be ignored. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 740. After Commander Chen, Ye Zhenjun and others arrived in the capital, they first asked the guards to deliver the things Lu Zhang and his comrades asked them to bring to Feng Qingxiu, Niang and the others. They went to see the old leaders themselves and were surprised when they learned of this incident. It seems that Zibeo is always at home no matter where he is. Zibeo, who is like a fish in water, is shouting happily at home, "My shoes! My hats! My pillows! My insects!" He dove into the newly opened luggage bag, clasping his hands and kicking his feet outside. After it was inserted, Zibeo felt that something was wrong. He was so suffocated that he couldn't breathe and kicked his legs around. "Please help." Fortunately, Wang Fengqiao reacted quickly and quickly pulled him out, put it aside, looked through the things he had brought, and smiled at Feng Qingxiu. "Lu Zhang is very careful, and Fu Bao will need all the things he packed." Zibeo's swaddling clothes and other items are brightly colored and can be worn as a girl's Fubao. Feng Qingxiu agreed very much. Although there were things cobbled together by comrades and relatives and friends, the quantity was not enough. A few days ago, a comrade gave birth to a baby, and Feng Qingxiu asked Father Lu to bring Zibeo to deliver some supplies and milk powder. The remaining if Fubao wets his swaddling clothes or diapers more than twice, and the washed swaddling clothes or diapers have not been dried yet, Fubao can only be wrapped in a big quilt by the wind and snow. Moreover, the things Feng Qingxiu prepared for her son were of better quality, soft and durable. As for other aspects, due to heavy snow closing the mountains, supplies for the border troops were hard-won, so Lu Zhang declined the kindness of his comrades and only entrusted Commander Chen with several months' wages and tickets to deliver to Feng Qingxiu, without food. Class stuff. Faith is the most important thing. A thick stack of letters, each one recording Lu Jiang's feelings and longings at that time, as well as his deep apology. Every time after training, in the dead of night, I think about you, and Zibao, and our unborn child. You take care of 2 children by yourself and take care of work at the same time. It's very hard, and I, as a disciple, stay here to worry about it. It is said that the wind and sand in the capital are very strong. I wonder if you and Zibao are used to it. This year there is abundant water and grass, and there are flocks of horses, cattle, and sheep. Everyone says that the situation is better than last year, which can alleviate the food shortage. I deeply agree. I went to the snow-capped mountains to train my troops. I picked 2 snow lotuses by chance, but they were not as beautiful as your beauty. Autumn is coming to an end and winter is coming, and the mountains are covered with heavy snow. I wonder what the weather is like in the capital? Remember to put on extra clothes to avoid the cold. I received a telegram saying that Fu Bao weighed 8 pounds and 2 taels when he was born. There must be something thrilling about it, which scared me. Jin Zuzu is happy, please let me know. It's been a long time. I miss you. Do you miss me? Feng Qingxiu sat on the Kong and read it carefully. She could completely feel the tenderness and sweetness between the lines, and her cheeks couldn't help but turn red. After being separated for half a year, how can I not miss you? A heart can't wait to turn into a somersault cloud and be reunited with the lover in an instant. Mom, it's hot. It's hot, Zibao, who climbed onto the Kong with a basket of straw worms and prepared to give it to his sister to play with, saw it all at once and pointed at his plump cheeks. It's hot. Feng Qingxiu did not deny it, covering her face and said, yes, the room is too hot. Zibao sat down on the Kong and touched his face. No, it's not hot. Mom is an adult, so you feel hot. You are a child, so you are not hot. Go and play with yours, Feng Qingxiu said plausibly, folding the letters she had read one by one and putting them into envelopes, and then put them away.